at the end of this first season. So there's Alain Prost having a little chat to Jay Penske, the bosses of the e.dams and Dragon teams respectively. They are down at the exit of the pit lane, and we can now hear from Sébastien Buemi, the man who was quickest in free practice 2 earlier on. He's the hunter.
Now, Sébastien Buemi, you had an absolutely impeccable performance yesterday, but are you on track to do it again today?
It's a tough thing to say. We seem to have some small issues on the car right now, so hopefully we'll be able to sort that out for qualifying. But you know, it's a very tough championship, so it's going to be difficult to repeat that, but we will try our best.
Now, Nelson Piquet said that qualifying is everything today. Would you agree with that?
Maybe not everything, but most of it, yeah. So it's going to be important to have a clean lap and obviously try to start as high as possible on the grid.
Absolutely. Good luck, thank you.
So there you can see the Olympic Stadium actually in the background through there, the white roofed building, and then you've got the City of London in the middle, the Shard on the right hand side, London Eye in the middle there on the left hand side, just towering over Big Ben. And here is Battersea Park just to the right of it, Battersea Power Station, a really stunning place to be racing. And we can now hear from Lucas di Grassi. He's third in the championship, got it all to do today.
Lucas Grassi, we're about to head into qualifying. You're in Group 4. Do you think that has an advantage today?
It might have. I think the track should improve, not as much as yesterday, because the track was very green yesterday. But I think Group 4 has a slight advantage, just because people running the track cleans it more, rubber it down. So yeah, I'm quite happy to be in Group 4.
And do your championship aspirations sort of really hinge on getting pole position today?
Also, of course, pole position is not only the best position for the race, but it's also 3 points. So for sure we give it 100% in qualifying.
Good luck, thank you.
So Lucas di Grassi has it all to do. If he can get that pole position, he will pick up 3 points and mean he's only 10 points behind Nelson Piquet at the top of the championship. But is the pressure getting to Nelson Piquet? That's the question.
Doesn't look like it right now.
How's he got up there? Oh, there's a ladder there to the left-hand side. So yeah, he's just taking his time up there. He's probably hiding from Nicky up there, because we'd quite like to interview him.
Is that Roberto Marino in the garage?
I don't think it might be, actually. This is what happened to Piquet earlier on. Locked up his rears, spun it at turn 8. Is that going to affect you?
No. Locked up his rears on a downshift, spun it round. That's it. So he said there was something going on with the gearbox a little bit. And as I said, there's a bump there as he hit it, downshifted at the same time maybe, or maybe there was an issue with the gearbox. He'll be fine.
Let's hear from Alain Prost. They are the new team's champions, e.dams-Renault, but they've got a big job on today as well.
Alain Prost, you had an extremely successful day yesterday. Now Buemi is just 5 points behind Nelson Piquet. Does that change your strategy for today at all?
A little bit, yes, because we only think about the win. Yesterday we were a little bit nervous, but winning the race, obviously if you can win, you do it, but also being secure about the points for the Constructors' Championship. Today is very different. We want to win with Sébastien, and we have a little problem now with the battery, so I hope it's going to be okay, at least for qualifying. So we are a bit nervous about that, because we cannot avoid to start a little bit behind with him.
Is that on Buemi's car?
Yeah, on Sebastian's car, but we can change the battery, but after qualifying only, so it's a little problem. It's part of the game, you know. We know that it's in this series it looks everything okay, and suddenly something goes wrong, but we have to accept it.
And it looks like we might be in for a spot of rain. How could that change this afternoon? It's looking great, and I can actually feel a little bit of rain on my arm now.
I didn't think about that. To be very honest, that could be really. That's the first time we will have a race on wet tires. The drivers only did a few laps in Donington last year in a wet condition, so that could be really difficult. It's always the advantage of the one who is leading the championship in this case, because you never know what can happen. But again, wait and see. It's very open anyway.
And how important is pole position?
Pole position is great importance. Yeah, very big.
Well, have a great race. Good luck. Thank you.
The last few days here in London, it's been absolutely glorious weather, but it is taking a bit of a turn today, starting to cloud over, as you can see above Alain Prost in the e.dams garage. Not, you know, we're not looking at thunderstorms, but might be looking at a bit of a sprinkle.
Yeah, it felt like it was just, it was on its way when I walked into the commentary booth there, and if that happens, all bets are off. I mean, what is the surface going to be like here at the Battersea Park track? As we said, or as Alain said, they haven't really run, apart from some laps in Donington last year, in the wet. The Michelin tyre, the all-weather tyre that they're running, will be able to do the job very well, but it just opens it up and adds a further dimension to this already crazy championship battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear now from Sam Bird. He is one of the 2 Englishmen in the field today. He's been talking to Nicky.
Well, Sam Bird, here we are again in Battersea for a home race for you. Now, you did a great job yesterday, but are you hoping to do even better today?
Absolutely. I think we've found a little bit more speed overnight, which is great. We seem to be very competitive today. We missed out on a Talk 6 run in free practice 2 due to the red flag at the end, but we're still hoping for probably, if we can get on the front 2 rows, that'd be great.
Thanks very much. Have a great race.
Program's out for the spectators, and they are hopefully looking forward to this qualifying session here in Battersea Park, which is going to be getting underway in just a couple of minutes' time. Group 1 is going to be Bruno Senna, Jerome D'Ambrosio, Alex Fontana, Stefan Sarazan and Nick Heidfeld, as pretty much a sellout here at Battersea Park, certainly in terms of the general admission and public tickets. And it's going to be a very entertaining qualifying session, absolutely crucial as far as the championship is concerned. And they are split into 4 groups of 5, the drivers. So qualifying group 1 will be Jerome D'Ambrosio, Alex Fontana, Bruno Senna, Nick Heidfeld and Stefan Sarazan. So D'Ambrosio, the man to watch there. Qualifying group 2 will be Sam Bird, Loic Duval, Sebastian Buemi, Jarno Trulli and Salvador Duran. So Sebastian Buemi second in the championship, going out in group 2. Group 3, you've got Nelson Piquet Jr. He's out there alongside Jean-Eric Vergne, who's another pole position contender, Fabio Lima, Sakon Yamamoto, Daniel Abt there in Group 3. And then in Group 4, you've got Lucas Di Grassi, who's 3rd in the championship at the moment. Also, you've got Nico Prost, a man who's had 2 pole positions so far this season. Oliver Turvey has looked quick as well. So we've got interesting people in every group. So just a couple of moments now before this qualifying session goes green and gets underway here at Battersea Park. The final qualifying session of this first Formula E Championship gets underway now. What could be an absolutely vital qualifying session. The cars make their way out onto the circuit, and none of the championship contenders are in this first group, Dario Franchitti, but there are some quick drivers.
There are some quick drivers that could take those crucial 3 points from one of the championship contenders today, and so you know, every group counts, every lap of every one of these guys is going to count, and the further back any of these championship contenders are, the more impossible the task.
So 3 of the cars have gone out onto the circuit now. Both the Venturi cars are out in this session, Stefan Sarazan and Nick Heidfeld. Yesterday in qualifying, they ran a different lap schedule to everyone else. They did more slowdown laps, and so they were on their quick laps at the time that the other cars were on their cool down laps, and that made it really difficult for them. And I wonder if they've kept their cars in the pits for longer to try and alleviate that.
Yeah, well, I hope they do something different today, because it's clearly not worked for them. They tried to get all the teams and drivers to agree to do the same thing as a group, you know, 2 sort of cool down laps before starting a qualifying lap, 1 cool down lap, another qualifying lap, and then pit. They couldn't get everybody to agree.
Well, that's like herding pigeons, isn't
exactly.
it?
You'll have 20 drivers, 20 different opinions, and 10 teams, 10 different opinions again, and the team and the driver opinion might also differ. So we had that situation when you know, Sarazan was on some really good laps yesterday, but kept getting traffic, and hopefully they've managed to avoid that today, otherwise it could get a bit tasty.
So the way that this tends to work is we will have an out lap from these guys, then they will run at 150 kilowatts of power for 1 lap, and then they'll turn it up to the full 200 kilowatts of power. They're allowed 2 full power laps in their 10-minute segment, so they tend to do an out lap, a warm-up lap, and then gun it and we'll be able to tell you how much power they're running thanks to our on-screen graphics and the telemetry that we get back from the cars, telemetry that actually the teams don't get. This is Jerome D'Ambrosio coming down towards turn 1. He's looking actually pretty quick straight away down through the first corner.
Yeah, he is.
This is down into turn 3 now, the left-hander at Prince Albert. And then they head out towards this the back sequence of chicanes. First it's 4 and 5 here, then out into 6 and 7 for Jerome D'Ambrosio. And then now towards the Sun Gate at turn left. And there is some rain out there by the sounds of things. Our cameramen are reporting that there's a little bit of rain coming down.
Is he already on a 200 lap then? Because if it was me, I'd want to do a 200 lap. Look at all the rain jackets. You'd want to get the 200 lap in before the rain came, so that you might just forgo your usual warm-up procedure or cool-down procedures that actually is, and get going. So is he on 200 here?
No, only Nick Heidfeld is on a 200 lap at the moment. So Heidfeld has just started a 200 lap. Jerome D'Ambrosio still on 150 kilowatts of power. The Belgian racer that we're watching here, former Formula 1 driver, but there you can see the brollies are up. And the hoods are up as well. It's not coming down heavy enough for those guys to put up their brollies.
Maybe they don't have any. I certainly didn't bring one. Look at the rain on the camera lens there.
So this is going to be a very tricky and interesting qualifying session. This is Nick Heidfeld. He's turned up to full power in the black and red Venturi car as he comes around the left-hander at Sungate and now heads down towards the Lake Chicanes. Jerome D'Ambrosio has just clocked a 1 minute 34.2, but now he's going to go full power. Now these tyres made by Michelin are able to cope with both the wet and the dry conditions, and that's why these guys will go out on these tyres whatever conditions we're in, much akin to the road car. We've only had a tiny bit of wet running, which was the first time they ever drove these cars at Donington Park. They pootled them out of the garage around Donington Park for a couple of laps, and that's the only wet running we've ever had in Formula E. So this is going to be a test of everything for everyone as Heidfeld comes towards the final corner now at Chelsea Gate.
You know, especially under the trees, the water's going to stay there, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the track to dry up, you know, for the other qualifying groups, never mind the race.
So
very
Heidfeld
slippery
comes across the line, a 1 minute 26.818.
Hey, we will see the other.
As they come over the radio then, and so...
Rear locking like crazy.
Raining like crazy too.
Each day something different.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, did you hear that from Heidfeld? Each day something different. Same whatever, different day. Jerome D'Ambrosio coming down now. He's looking very quick. So's Bruno Senna out there too. So this is really going to be a test of the conditions. You can hear the cars sliding around as D'Ambrosio now comes towards the final corner. This is the man who qualified and finished second in the race yesterday. He comes across the line and does a 1 minute 24.891, 2 seconds quicker than Nick Heidfeld. But Stefan Sarazan is out there looking strong as well. He's about to come across the line. Bruno Senna turns through the final corner, jumps up to second quickest, but Sarazan is going to be the man to watch. Alex Fontana there in the blue and white Trulli car coming out of the final turn. But Stefan Sarazan is about to pop out of the final turn, go across the line and go second quickest. So you can see the order in the top left: D'Ambrosio, Sarazan, Senna, Heidfeld, Fontana after all of their first runs out there. And 24.8 is not too bad a lap time.
You know, things weren't complicated enough with this championship fight, and now we're throwing in some rain.
Yeah, exactly. So the quickest time we've seen was a 23.6. So we're about a second off the pace at the moment, but that is probably because of the tricky conditions. Now the drivers will cool down for a lap before going for it once again.
These cars are all on dry settings, so they'll be aggressively positioned towards running in the dry. This is really going to maybe change a little bit. There's no standing water, clearly, because it's not raining that hard, but the track will be very, very slippery.
Certainly will. This 2.9 kilometre circuit that winds around the Battersea Park sports pitches and lakes and zoos. Really is a fantastic place to be, as they all now go line astern underneath the bridges that take them over from the various gates.
Definitely seen a lot of rain at the southern portion of the track here as they come through the 9, 10, 11, 12 area.
Yep, this is heading up towards the long left-hander of turn 13 that then takes them back to down towards the start-finish straight. There's Battersea Park Station just next to that roundabout below us. And soon, well, Nick Heidfeld has turned it up to full power, and he is out there on his second flying lap. A 10th down on Jerome D'Ambrosio in Sector 1. Nick Heidfeld has led a lot of races so far this season, but he's only had one podium finish for the Venturi team. We're on board with Quick Nick now, and you can see the rain on the camera lens. This lens is mounted in the nose of the car. The furthest point forward is our camera. Into the lake chicanes they come, which are starting to resemble lakes more and more. Everyone now on a full power lap, all 5 of them. In comes Heidfeld. And now into turn 13, which is usually totally flat.
A brave man to do it flat just now with the rain falling a little bit.
Jerome D'Ambrosio's just done the fastest. No, Bruno Senna has just done the fastest first sector of anyone. Great first sector from Bruno Senna in the Mahindra. Really looking strong out there in these tricky conditions. It's not raining too hard still, but there's enough, presumably, to take a little bit of the grip away. Heidfeld across the line remains in 3rd place at 25.494.
Sarrazin done the fastest sector one time.
Sarrazin and Senna have sort of matched each other in the first sector. This is Jerome D'Ambrosio. He's gone quick in sector 2. He's looking to get up into the top 3 in the championship. He's up in 4th place at the moment, not in title contention, but he'll want to finish as high up the order as he can at the end of this season. This is the final round of the championship as he brushes the wall almost on the exit down towards the final turn at Chelsea Gate. Gets it in across the line, and he improves to a 1 minute 23.965. That is good. That's only 3/10 slower than the quickest time we've seen so far. Bruno Senna about to come across the line. Watch his running clock in the bottom right. Where does Senna go? 2nd quickest, slower than D'Ambrosio. But what has Sarrazin done? He's about a 10th up, I think, on Jerome D'Ambrosio after the middle sector. Can Sarrazin go quicker than D'Ambrosio into the final turn, across the line? And he does. 1 minute 23.901, half a 10th of a second quicker.
Good job, mate. Good job. Big one.
And the Venturi radio telling him he's done a very good job there.
It could have been better, but it could have been worse. Anyway, it's better than yesterday. Thank you.
It's been better than most of his qualifyings this season, Stefan Sarrazin. He has struggled a little bit when it comes to the qualifying session, but absolutely on it today, out-qualifying D'Ambrosio, who started 2nd yesterday.
Well, he was on it a couple of times yesterday, wasn't he, until he got traffic, and then we had some other language on the radio that was a little different than that. But great to see Sarrazin actually get a clear lap today and show what he can do, and that's a pretty good marker he's thrown down there. What we're going to see, though, if it dries up and it stops raining, it will start to dry very, very quickly, and the guys in groups 2, 3 and 4 will have a massive advantage. So but a 23.9 is not bad in those tricky conditions.
No, absolutely not, because there is definitely rain coming down, and I'm sure they're on the Formulary app there, getting ready, getting all the information that they can. There's still 10 seconds left in Q1, but everyone has completed their 2 flying laps, and they'll now make their way back towards the pit lane, and that'll be the end of their session. And we are seeing rain due to come in from the northwest, so it's coming down apparently from kind of the Wales area in a southeasterly direction. That's the latest forecasts we're getting.
But it's coming. There's quite a lot of rain there coming. If that hits, yeah, we've obviously just seen the radar, everybody.
Yeah.
But if that hits, it's going to be a lot more than we just saw there in Group 1. So, obviously, everybody's got their own agenda there, and the Group 4 guys are hoping the rain doesn't hit before they get out.
So the first 5 cars have been out, and Stefan Sarrazin is the quickest man, a 1 minute 23.901, a fraction of a second quicker than Jerome D'Ambrosio. Bruno Senna lost time in the final sector. As a result, he's 3rd quickest. Heidfeld and Fontana completing the top 5, but we've still got 15 drivers left to come in qualifying here in London. There is Bruno Senna back in Parc Fermé. And he was looking good on that lap, but ended up 0.4 of a second slower than Stefan Sarrazin. You can see the drizzle coming down. Senna deciding to stay in his car for the time being. There's Loic Duval. He's going to be going out in Group 2. For the Dragon Racing team, he's just seen his teammate go 2nd quickest. There you can see Sam Bird, Loic Duval, Sebastian Buemi, Jarno Trulli, and Salvador Duran. They are the 5 men going out in this 2nd qualifying group. Sebastian Buemi, the most important of them. Whether they've got to the bottom of whatever problems were afflicting the e.dams-Renault machine, we will have to wait and see when he pulls out of the pit lane.
If he can get the pole position, he just puts Nelson Piquet under further pressure. I mean, that gap has closed dramatically in one day yesterday, and if he can put that pressure on even more, it puts Nelson on the back foot.
Certainly does. There is Buemi. He's at the wheel of the car, which is always a positive. And a lot of media attention around Sebastian Buemi as he heads out onto the track in a couple of minutes' time to enter the second qualifying group, which will run in pretty much the same format as the first.
Sam Bird's in this group too.
Yes.
See if he can put a lap together here. There's the rain in the background in the lake surface.
Yeah. So it's not too heavy at the moment. I'm sure those in the grandstands probably would disagree with that, but it's not bucketing it down just yet.
Well, I'm sure the drivers will disagree too.
Yeah.
Trust me, when you're sitting in that car, those raindrops look a whole lot bigger.
Yeah, when you're doing 150 miles an hour, it probably is a little bit more dramatic. So just 2 minutes before we go out for the second qualifying group, there's Jerome D'Ambrosio, second at the moment, but I don't think he's going to repeat his front row start of yesterday. Good lap from D'Ambrosio, but just fractionally beat by Stefan Sarazan.
Yeah, half a tenth difference there. Not a lot, but as you say, I mean, this really right now we're at it. The weather controls the result.
Yeah.
It really does, because how it changes between Group 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's that's it. If you get a lucky break with that, your group is really going to be up the front. And with the championship contenders, we got Buemi in Group 2, we got Nelson Piquet in Group 3, and we got Lucas de Grassi in Group 4. There's enough variables in there, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Very interesting to see what happens. They're making some changes at the back of Nelson's car, maybe getting it ready for a wet setup.
I think that was probably the gearbox problem he had earlier. That was the other car, and they were doing something with he clearly wasn't happy with the way it was engaging gears on the downshift, so the whole back of the car is off. You know, it's a hard enough schedule for the drivers, the one-day events, but these 2-day, you know, what we've got here, and the one-day schedule, everything in it, and then having to do it again the next day for the mechanics is really hard work. Yeah,
tough stuff. We just saw Nelson Piquet coming out to have a little bit of a look up at the weather, but in less than a minute we will have the cars on track ready for the next group of qualifying, and Sebastian Buemi is going to be the big focus, but also this man Sam Bird won a race in Malaysia all the way back in November. Since then, I don't think he's been back on the podium, Sam Bird. And he hasn't actually. He's had one top 4 finish, and that was in Monaco.
Jack, he dominated Malaysia, didn't he? He just drove off. The rest of the field were all in this like clump of cars, and there was Sam in a different postcode.
And we thought at that point he'd got the championship wrapped up to an extent.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But maybe go a little bit less aggressively.
That's
5 seconds.
Qualifying Group 2 gets underway here in London, and the cars head out onto the circuit. Sebastian Buemi, Salvador Duran, Jarno Trulli, Sam Bird and Loic Duval. Duval's teammate, Jerome D'Ambrosio, is currently second. He's with Nicky.
Now, Jerome D'Ambrosio, looks like it's about to start raining. I think it's already spitting, in fact. Do you think you're going to be the only group to avoid it?
Well, we didn't really avoid it completely. The first lap it rained quite a little bit, so that was a little bit difficult. Then the second lap was better, less rain, but difficult to judge really where the limit is. But you know, it's the same for everyone. It's going to be a bit of a tricky one for everyone out there. You know, depending on how much rain there is. You get only 2 laps, but it's fun.
Thanks very much.
Well, at least he had fun. Cars are on track. Qualifying 2 underway. That's Sebastian Buemi in the blue and yellow e.dams car. He's the man to watch because he is the man who is second in the championship at the moment. And he is winding his way around the back stretch of the circuit. Behind him is the silver and black Dragon Racing car of Loic Duval. Down towards the first of the 2 lake chicanes. Through the right, through the left. Duval following Buemi out there. Then Sam Bird is behind in the silver and purple Virgin Racing machine.
Sam's trying to get some temperature in the tyres. They'll be getting temperature in the tyres and the brakes now. We're trying to cool down the motor and the battery, get air through those radiators, and then getting ready for that first run there, that first lap at the full 200 kilowatts of qualifying power.
So again, we are anticipating another warm-up lap And I think that will probably be the case, because even though there's the threat of the rain, they haven't gone for it enough on this lap to suggest that they're going to turn it up to full. There's Bruno Senna on the left-hand side, currently in 3rd place. The top 3 will sit there until the end of the session and, you know, change in and out as the session progresses.
Yeah, it's a really sucky feeling, that, to be honest. Oh, here we go, we're seeing
Salvador Duran.
Oh, well held. It's a really bad feeling. You're sitting there, you're one of the top 3, and then somebody goes quicker and you get turfed off. It's like, okay, thanks, we don't need you anymore.
Lunchtime.
Yeah.
So, there's Sebastian Buemi out on circuit. All the guys on 150 kilowatt laps at the moment before turning it up to 200 next time around, most likely, and going for it.
This is almost a sighting lap too for these guys. Buemi's looking at how much curb can I use. Is it slippery on the curb? You notice he really avoided the curb at that last corner, turn 17. You also have this, that's normally a roundabout, and you can see there's a patch of paint there where the roundabout normally exists. Is that the proper FIA non-slip paint, or is it the Dulux solid emulsion stuff that's going to make them slide off the track? All will be revealed here pretty quickly.
Jarno Trulli is on a full power lap here in the blue and white Trulli car, and he's locked up his right front, and he's not getting that one stopped, and he's gone straight on. And well, that's a real shame for Jarno. He took pole position astonishingly in Berlin. Hopefully he can get going again before the cars come round on their 200 laps. But here it is again, Jarno Trulli just locked the front right, and just was never going to get it stopped.
As soon as he pressed the brake pedal, it was locked, wasn't it, really? And that's probably just the track being very, very slippery under the trees. He can't get reverse. So he's going to wait for the marshal to come out. Here he goes. Get closer to him.
So now that means Buemi is coming around the final corner. And is he turned up to 200? He's going to stay. Yeah, he's not pushing. So that's clever stuff from Buemi and the e.dams crew. They've seen that Trulli has created a yellow flag, so there's no point going for it.
He got downshift into one now. One was flat earlier, another downshifting just with the slippery conditions. Clearly
now Bird has gone for it though.
Bird's gone for it though.
So Sam Bird in the Virgin car.
Into turn 1. I don't think Sam's lifting too much.
No. Ooh. Back end getting away a little bit, and he's going to have all sorts of traffic. Here's Loic Duval, he's coming up behind. Is Duval going to get out of the way?
Yes.
Bird slides. Duval does get out of the way. So that's good news, and Bird is less than a 10th down.
And the yellow flag is gone, which is great news for Sam Bird, as he's on it now.
Okay, flashing through.
Let's see if we can get it stopped here in turn 8. Look at that, locking the fronts, locking the rears.
Salvador Duran is on a hot lap too in the Amlin Aguri car, but this is Sam Bird, the Englishman from Roehampton, but likes to think of himself as a London boy, turning into the Lake Chicanes now.
Through 9 and 10, where Trulli went off earlier, passing slower traffic there. Buemi gave him room. Braking again for 11 and 12 left-right chicane coming up.
He's 3/10 down in the middle sector, and he wanted to be on the front 2 rows, but doesn't look as though this lap is quite going to do it for Sam Bird as he flies through turn 13 down towards the chicane.
This is only the first one. This will be a slight lap, get his eye in, and then get ready for the last one, where it's all going to count, isn't it?
Past the tennis courts, down towards the final corner at Chelsea Gate. Bird turns in through the left-hander and across the line, and it puts him 4th for the time being, but as you say, Dario, that's just a side to lap. Sebastian Buemi, meanwhile...
Okay, Sam, call it off, go torque 4. We are P4 on a 24.8, P4 on a 24.8.
So Buemi has now got it turned up.
Buemi and the other car are on their quick laps now. You'll have to let them back pass, be careful.
So that's Sam Bird being told to let Buemi past, because Buemi is now turned up to full chat. So is Loic Duval. Salvador Duran about to come across the line now. Are we going to see a good lap here from the Mexican Amlin Aguri driver? He goes 7th at the moment. But Buemi has just done the fastest first sector of anyone. On board we go with the man who's 2nd in the championship, hurtling his car through that chicane, now up towards turn 8. Front right locker.
Oh, right on the edge of adhesion there, wasn't it?
Gets away with it just about, doesn't he, as he then comes now towards the Lake Chicanes. Here comes the first one, a right-left.
He got it stopped, that's half the battle. That's where Trulli went off and Karun Chandok went off in practice.
Yep, now down to the 2nd Lake Chicane. Middle sector's okay, not astonishing. Loic Duval's done a pretty good first sector too.
Using all the curve there, round 13 on this long left-hander, flat in the dry. He's still flat.
Done it flat, yeah.
Flat. Well done. into this last bus stop now, using as much of the curb on the left here as you can, back to the power, having to feather it a bit. In the dry, that's flat the whole way through there.
Final corner for Sebastian Buemi, down towards Chelsea Gate. The 90-degree left-hander, front right lockup, gets it stopped, crosses the line. Fourth quickest, 0.6 of a second slower than Stefan Sarazan. Loic Duval, meanwhile, is 1.1 seconds slower than Sarazan. And so Jerome D'Ambrosio is looking, he thinks there must be rain because they were quicker than me in Sector 1 and then it all fell apart.
The Gaelic shrug there.
Yeah, from the Belgian. As he sits down. Second place still for him. Stefan Sarazan on the right-hand side is still on provisional pole position. Jarno Trulli has got it turned up for his second flyer. And really his one chance to get it right, but he's 1.4 seconds down in the middle sector. Through comes Jarno. Had some good qualifying performances so far this season. Fourth in Malaysia, pole in Berlin. Sam Bird's on another flying lap out there as Trulli comes into the final chicane. One more corner to go for the Italian.
Looks like it's getting a bit worse than the conditions out there. Jarno's been quite ginger with the controls there.
Across the line comes Trulli, and it is 10th place for Jarno Trulli. Of the 10 drivers that we've had so far, those are still our top 3. Sam Bird is out there pushing hard, and he's done personal best in Sector 1. So Sam Bird has done a 22.1 in Sector 1. Nico Prost watching on, looking to pick out the purple and red Virgin car of Sam Bird. Really good first sector. Middle sector's not too bad. Now it's all about this final third of the track. Throws it out of the chicane. Now through the long left-hander at Rosary Gate, turn 13.
Big commitment through there. Let's see if he can get it stopped for this chicane now. This bus stop chicane, not bad through there. Look at the commitment compared to the speed Trulli carried.
Yep, the back end stepping out a little bit on the power. He's got Buemi up in front of him, who is about to start his flyer, so that shouldn't cause Bird too much of a problem. Through the final turn, across the line comes Bird. Third quickest. Not a bad lap at all from Sam Bird.
P3, go to torque 4. You've got cars coming up on their fast lap now. Watch your
Here's
mirrors.
Buemi now. Maximum attack. This is where all counts. He's got to make this, to get the pole position here and help him with that championship.
Not bad through turn 3. Still got the water on the lens, but he's a 10th and a half up on Stefan Sarazan. Buemi knows that this could be crucial in his championship battle. If he gets pole position, he will take the lead of the championship down to just 2 points.
And if it is raining harder here, he's got to make up more in that first segment to balance it.
We're going to get the middle sector split once he's come through this chicane in a moment. Into the first of the lake chicanes. Now, what's he done in Sector 2, Sebastian Buemi? Across the line, and he's fractionally slower, less than a 10th down on Stefan Sarazan. Loic Duval, meanwhile, has had a stonking first sector. He's 3/10 quicker than anyone else in Sector 1, Loic Duval. Superb performance from the Dragon driver. He's further back on the track. You've got the running clock for him down in the bottom right. Buemi gets it stopped into the chicane. What can Buemi do? Is he going to be good enough to take pole position and potentially take those points that could be so crucial in the championship fight? Final turn at Chelsea Gate. Across the line. Is it good enough? No. 5th place for Sebastian Buemi. 5th for Buemi. Here comes Loic Duval into the final corner and across the line. 3rd place for Loic Duval.
Clearly, it's a bit damp through turn segments 2 and 3. Sectors 2 and 3 are causing them a bit more of a headache there. And the Buemi P6.
Goodness me.
He's just made his day a whole lot more difficult. Let's see what the weather does, though.
Yeah.
Let's see what the other guys end up with.
So Stefan Sarazan is the quickest man out there. Then D'Ambrosio, Duval in 3rd, 4th for Senna, 4th for Bird, sorry, 5th for Senna, 6th for Sebastian Buemi, the man who took pole position and won the race yesterday, is only 6th at the moment, and we've still got 10 cars to come. Wow. Don't really know what to say. Well, let's have a look at the results then, shall we? At the moment, we are halfway through the session, and it's Stefan Sarazan who is on provisional pole position, just in front of Jerome D'Ambrosio. Dragon Racing 2 and 3 at the moment. Bird 4th, Senna 5th, Buemi down in 6th place. Heidfeld, Duran, Fontana and Trulli completing the top 10, but we've still got Lucas Di Grassi and Nelson Piquet to come in the 3rd and 4th groups of qualifying. So we can now look at who's going to be out in the qualifying group. 3, Fabio Lima, Jean-Eric Verne, potential poleman, Sakon Yamamoto, Daniel Abt, Nelson Piquet Jr., the man leading the championship. Let's now hear from Stefan Sarazan. He's currently on provisional pole position halfway through this quali session.
Stefan Sarazan, we saw you take a huge sigh of relief at the end of Group 2. Do you think you've done enough, though, to stay in P1 to the end?
Yeah, we never know if we did enough. I pushed, for sure, I give my best, but now it starts to rain. So I was complaining about the lottery to be in Group 1, but in fact it was more lucky.
Do you think the rain has slowed down the Group 2 drivers?
I don't think so in their second lap, I don't know. But they was very close to us, I don't know. We cannot see from here, we are on the forest, so now it starts to rain more, so it will be more difficult for the others.
And what's it like for you as a driver coming back here, you know, for a second day of racing, both physically and also mentally?
Yeah, it's good. Physically, it's not an issue, you know. We are used to drive in the WEC, so it's more hours in a car. But it's better, you know. Yesterday I had some traffic in quali. I was bad. My car was very good, but I didn't do a good job. So we ended up 10 in the race, and we can do much better. So today it looked like we start better.
And have you learnt a lot from yesterday? Have you done many changes to the setup of the car?
Yeah, we changed a lot of things. We have 2 cars here, you know, so it's easy to do something different, and we took a risk, and it's very good.
It's obviously paying off. Thanks very much.
Nail-biting Jerome D'Ambrosio alongside him there in second place, waiting for his Dragon teammate Loic Duval to turn up. It's Stefan Sarazan at the moment on provisional pole position. There's Lucas Di Grassi coming out to check the weather conditions.
This reminds me of Indianapolis. All the drivers suddenly become experts in weather, and they're all meteorologists all of a sudden.
And is there, I mean, with these tyres that run in both conditions, with these cars, does going out and looking at the weather actually achieve anything?
Absolutely, because how difficult is this track? How much have we talked about how difficult, how easy it is to make a mistake on this track, how difficult the whole thing is, all the undulations, all the bumps. Well, now we've just thrown in a completely different level of grip because of just the surface and the tyre with the surface. So, and that's going to change throughout the lap because it's raining at part of the park, and there's other parts of the park it's not. Look how heavy it's raining now in the background there. Yeah. That's all going to change it, and so it just adds another element that the drivers have to deal with. And you know, with the championship on the line too, groups 3 and 4 really up against it.
This is on board with Sebastian Buemi coming into turn 1. Through the, oh my goodness me, he's hit the wall on the inside.
Very nice. You've got to watch that though, because sometimes if that spits you into the outside wall, yeah, it's right where the wall sticks out there. As those 2 walls meet, it's not doesn't continue the curve. It sticks out, and that's what he's collected there. But normally that will spit you in the outside wall. He did well to hang on to that.
Green light at the end of the pit lane for the 3rd qualifying group. Going out in this is our championship leader, Nelson Piquet Jr. You can see him in the fluorescent and silver Next EV by Team China car. He leads the championship at the moment by 5 points over Sebastian Buemi. Buemi is 6th on the grid as it stands, so Piquet's main concern has got to be out-qualifying Sebastian Buemi. Also out in this group, we have Daniel Abt in the Abt machine. He's the first in this queue. Then we've got the orange Nemo-style car in the hands of Jean-Eric Verne. That's to change of livery for Andretti this weekend because of their tie-up with TE Connectivity, who are going to be helping them design their cars for Season 2. And we've also got Fabio Lima out there as well in this group, and Sakon Yamamoto for Amlin Aguri.
And one of the main businesses for the TE group, all the connectors in the cars, in the Formula E cars and actually racing cars throughout the world, are manufactured by them under different names. Yeah.
Fact of the day.
There you go.
Franchitti. Sakon Yamamoto about to depart the pit lane. You can see the Emotion Club in front of us. That's where all the VIP guests are. That's where the less VIP guests are, I suppose, up with the brollies out there on the circuit. But I really hope that this huge crowd that has come here to Battersea Park is enjoying their day. Certainly the atmosphere here yesterday was superb, and fingers crossed it won't dampen their spirits here.
And walking home last night was great. People's reaction to the race, to the whole thing that is Formula E, getting everybody's feedback on it. It was universally positive. It was good to see.
Yeah, it was an amazing atmosphere on the podium as well when Sebastian Buemi took the win. thousands of people crowded in front of the podium and were cheering the drivers as they came out.
And Alain Prost too.
Yes, exactly. Alain Prost winning for the e.dams team, did a little dance. But there's Sakon Yamamoto out on circuit now in the Amlin Aguri car, making his way around turn 1. Stuck it in the barriers at the end of free practice 2. And already you see Nelson Piquet soaring at the wheel as he comes out of the final turn.
There's a surface change there right on the exit of 17, and it seems that all the cars are having traction issues over that surface. And that won't be a big problem towards the end of your lap, but starting your lap, trying to get that lap started and the quickest possible speed is going to make it pretty interesting.
So Piquet has gone straight for a 200 full power lap by the sounds of things, but he's 1.2 seconds down in sector 1, so it didn't look... Oh, we'll keep an eye out on that, because it didn't look particularly like he made a mistake, but now he has made a mistake. Piquet just keeps it out of the wall. Back end gets away from him, and he keeps it on circuit.
Some of his rallycross training going on there. That was really well held.
So, Nelson Piquet Jr.
I think at this point Nelson's just finding out how slippery the track is in that sort of turn 8, 9, 10
See,
area.
the rain is still coming down up here as well. Sticking to the left-hand side, because then you're in the shade of the trees where it's a little bit drier. Locks up the left front, coming up towards the chicane.
It's a completely different line now, as you say, staying in the shade.
Oh, and that's Sakon Yamamoto. And that's turn 13, and you can see how much the rain is coming down now. And Yamamoto appears to have... Oh, and he's hit the wall.
Yeah, he really has.
So that'll be the premature pause in this session. Sakon Yamamoto has gone into the wall. He'll try and drive off, but he's got a wheel under himself. But you can see how much the rain is coming down now. Goodness me, what a topsy-turvy qualifying this is going to give us ahead of the championship decider. Here we go then, on board with Yamamoto, and I think he's going to lose it at the chicane itself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the way out.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Not ideal. That was his warm-up lap too.
Yeah. So, not good news for Sakon Yamamoto. And this is what happened to Nelson Piquet.
Locked the rears over the bump. And just look at that. The rears are locked solid there. Well done. That was a fabulous piece of car control, wasn't it? And he spun earlier there.
Look at him working at it here. This will be good fun. Through the chicane. And here he comes up towards the braking zone now. Whoa, whoa. Cool.
Look at handbrake turn, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, there's our top 3 at the moment. Loic Duval on the left-hand side has joined Stefan Sarrazin on the right, D'Ambrosio in the middle. Sarrazin, D'Ambrosio, Duval, the order.
Sarrazin's thinking, you beauty. I mean, that conditions have deteriorated drastically since Group 1, haven't they, really? You can clearly see it now, so... yeah, it's... you've got Piquet up against it, and you've got, obviously, Lucas Di Grassi up against it in Group 4 now. And you have to say Buemi's...
And Di Grassi, look at that, Di Grassi absolutely furious.
Yeah, what?
I mean...
honestly, I'm not sure what... It's just, that's unfortunate, that's what happens. You've got to deal with it, and you've got to get on with it, and make the most of it. It's by far not ideal, but if it's a wet race, passing will be easier.
Yeah, that's very true. Wow. Very frustrated Lucas Di Grassi. The apt team were all celebrating at the qualifying draw, because this is the groups are done by a lottery. The FIA are present and everything, and you pick out the car number from a bucket, and then one of the team members has to go and pick out which group they're going to be in from a bucket. The app team picked out group number 4, and they partied like it was, you know,
1999.
Well, I was going to say that, but then decided I probably shouldn't. But oh well, you went for it, so we're good to go. But now it's suddenly looking like it's not the ideal scenario.
We used to do that with Indianapolis. You have a draw. It's the same thing for the qualifying. And Floyd Ganassi, Chip's dad, would do it for us, and he'd pull out the 5 balls out and look at the ones and see the one he wanted, and that was the one we got.
So let's now hear from Loic Duval. He was out in Group 2, and he is provisionally 3rd on the grid. He's with Nicky Shields.
Loic Duval, it looks like you're one of the only drivers that's actually improved under the wet weather conditions.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was not so good, I have to say, already for the second group. I think for the first one was drizzling a little bit, was even worse for the second group. For me, the aim here was to beat Sebastian Buemi, because I believe that he was really strong yesterday, and this morning we look quite promising in the first 2 practice. I did beat him in the qualifying in the Group 2, but was not enough to be able to beat Stefan lap time. So for sure, I mean, that's part of the game. We all know that, you know, with 4 groups, for sure, if the weather is getting better, you struggle being at the beginning, and if it's getting worse, you're happy to be at the beginning. That's you know, sometimes it's a gamble and it's a luck.
And how much do you think the rain will affect the race if it continues?
Quite a lot. I mean, I think nobody raced so far in wet conditions, so for sure it will be something really exciting. Let's see how it goes. I mean, it's raining for the moment, but the race is still far away from now on. But it seems that now the track is really slow, so it has to dry up, and then we'll see.
And how are you feeling going into today's race? I know you have had suspension problems in the past.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we are not really lucky, especially in qualifying. We've always been competitive in the race, but every qualifying we had problem. Even if we are sun now, you know, I mean, it could have been better to have a completely dry qualifying. I think we were looking a little bit better in those conditions. But at the end, it's we are at the front. So now let's see for the last race, we will try to do something good. And also for the team, you know, it's really looking good having Jérôme and myself for the moment at the front, because we still have some points to take to try to beat some other teams.
Absolutely, it'd be a great way to end the championship. Thanks very much.
Less than a minute until the session restarts. Here's the standings at the moment. Stefan Sarrazin, the quickest man of anyone. D'Ambrosio second, Duval third. No one in that group had actually managed to set a lap time by the time Saka Yamamoto stuck it in the wall.
It's going to change their plan a bit here. Obviously less time, so you'll see probably an out lap, a 200 kilowatt lap, cool down lap, and then they'll at least start the another 200 before the checkered comes out, so they should get them all done.
But these, I mean, we're not going to see Stefan Sarrazin's time beaten in this Group 3. I mean, a bit of a bold claim, but you know, now it's damage limitation rather than pole position.
Look how heavy it's raining. You're absolutely right, but it's not a case now of going for the pole. It's about limiting the damage. It's about just doing whatever you can, because if you can qualify, you know, P10 or P11, it's a lot better than 18 or 19, which takes you right out of the championship. Look how heavy it's raining there.
Oh dear. Oh dear, rain coming down as the session gets back underway, and this is the first time really we're going to see Formula E cars running in the wet. Oh, it's proper raining now.
I'm firing my weather provider, because all the forecasts I looked at today said no rain.
You have your own weather provider, that is impressive.
Oh, don't you?
No. Q3 then resumes, and all the Pack-a-Macs go on, and the cars head down towards turn 1. Still Piquet, then Daniel Abt, then that man Jean-Eric Vergne, and then that man, Fabio Lima. Those are the only 4 cars left for the remaining 6 minutes of this session, and they're going to have to get on with it reasonably, because they've got 2 200 kilowatt laps to do. Although we think Nelson Piquet went full power on his first lap, so he may not have.
Yep, I would agree with that.
2 laps to do.
If it rains a little heavier, they'll have to start watching out for standing water in some of these gullies and on the surface of this track. Look at the rain beating off the visor here. As you see Nelson coming up under the trees.
Yeah.
It's made a difficult track or even more challenging, which is great for us watching here.
Well, it's going to be spectacular, no doubt about that, as Piquet has to work hard.
Lovely seeing that there. You've got the instant torque of these electric motors too, and that's where you see the Degrassi looking at his nemesis and championship rival there.
So 5 minutes to go. The marshals are holding out those yellow and red slippery surface flags, just in case the drivers didn't know, but look at that, it is plummeting down now. Piquet through the final chicane.
Now watch Piquet as he starts this lap, as he tries to put the power down out of 17, this next corner, when he crosses a surface, the change of surface. Watch how the back end of the car wants to step out. Just there. You hear it spin up.
He is tiptoeing around. These times are going to be miles off the pace, and it's going to be so fascinating here.
And he's under investigation for something, according to the stewards.
So into turn 1 comes Nelson Piquet. Nicely done, and these are the sort of conditions where the drivers earn their money. No idea how much grip they're going to have. He is on a 200 lap now.
Nice progressive, putting the power down there.
Oh, skips across the chicane a little bit, gets away with it for the time being.
Now let's see if he can get it through this.
Oh, he's lost it!
Well
Just
held.
about keeps it at the wall. Unbelievable stuff from Piquet.
Can he get it stopped? Great this time. Well done, Nelson.
That was mega crossed up, wasn't it? Now he's coming through 13. Let's listen to this throttle. Oh no, it's 13's up in a minute, isn't it?
Yep.
But well, we'll have a listen to that when he comes up to it. He's coming into the first lake chicane.
What he's doing there, he's braking right on the crown of the road. I don't understand that.
Is that just because the trees are covering this bit here, aren't they?
But you're going to have the wheels off the ground because the car's going to be bottoming out. Interesting choice of line. He knows better than me, though. At this point, he's driving the car. Again, he's taken a very unusual line into there, trying to find a dry spot in the track.
This is where Yamamoto crashed, and now Piquet comes through the left-hander at 13. Nicely done.
Very committed. Again, he's on the crown of the road there.
Ooh, clunks the old curves. You heard that pretty clearly. Trying to get the power down.
Short shifted there. Definitely short shifted up through the gears. And again, we're going to see him. Let's see how brave he's going to be on this entry. He's only got to get it to that line.
Makes it across the line, and he is 13.6 seconds slow. We're going to have a qualifying session of 2 parts here eventually.
The lap ended at 106 degrees, 106 stator. So you can do the calculations on how much I can start the next one.
All to do with temperatures of the battery and the power system. That's critical to getting the maximum performance out of it. There we go, Jean-Eric Verne, 2 seconds slower than Nelson.
And Fabio Lima 3 seconds slower still. Daniel Abt, I think, might have had a little bit of a mistake out there. He comes across the line. Yeah, he was 20 seconds slower than Piquet, Vernon, Lima. So something's gone wrong there for, although actually maybe he was just on his warm-up lap. Let's have a replay. This is Piquet. Man, that was mega.
I hope a photographer got a picture of that. That would be that'd be one for the wall, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Here's from the in-car. Fabulous.
Superb stuff. And oh, there was Daniel Abt, so he did make a mistake coming down into the final chicane.
He's going to reverse back.
So here's Piquet. He's done his 2 full power laps now.
Has he though? Because the way he was talking there, he said, you know, we can start the next lap.
Yeah, that's true, and he was really slow. But he was when he saw him on 200.
You have to do it now, okay? Now,
okay.
after turn 16,
he has to pit.
you change to 200, okay? And you do this now, this will be the final lap.
Okay, so now they're saying...
Copy.
So maybe he has got 1 more to go. Maybe he was...
Intrigue.
Maybe he wasn't on 200 when we thought he was at the start, as he comes over the line now and floors it.
Did you see the line? He took a completely different line. He's trying to get the car straight over that really slippery surface at the start.
So this is our championship leader coming down towards turn 1, Nelson Piquet Jr. Into the left. And you've got to be so careful not to wreck the car as well, because we've got 3 hours until the race starts. He's not getting that one stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. Jean-Eric Verne's on a flyer as well. So is Fabio Lima. As Piquet gingerly makes his way through the chicanes.
He's going to be more ginger this time than he was last time at the chicane. Yeah, well done. Didn't use the curbs on the second apex there.
Looks as though the rain stopped though for the time being as well, so the track may be getting a little bit drier.
Let's see if he tries to brake on the crown of the road again like he did into the 9-10 area here.
Piquet about to come through as he gets on the brakes.
Definitely brake it. Maybe he's trying to get off the rubber area, because where the rubber runs and then the water comes, it makes it very slippery. So a lot of times you try and get off the line where you would run in the dry.
On the brakes, into the left-right. That takes him out towards 13. How's Jean-Eric Verne doing in comparison? Verne's a bit quicker actually in Sector 1.
Yeah.
And we'll wait and see what the situation is in Sector 2. Fabio Lima's quicker in Sector 1 as well. Verne matches Piquet in Sector 2. Just so difficult to get on the power coming out of that chicane. So here comes the championship leader. It's going to be no better than 10th on the grid for Nelson Piquet Jr. as he comes across the line now. And he's currently provisionally 11th.
Let's watch Jean-Eric Verne here. This is the man that could knock Piquet even further back down the grid.
So Jean-Eric comes towards the final turn at Chelsea Gate. Gets it stopped, throws it in across the line, and he's quicker than Piquet. 11th place for Verne.
2/10 quicker. Fabio Lima still on the lap. No. 35.5.
You are ahead of Piquet, you are ahead of Piquet.
So Verne has done...
By how much?
Typical driver, 2/10. It's funny.
0.25 of a second, 0.25 of a second. Looks like you were...
Daniel Abt had a troubled session there. 3 seconds off the next slowest car.
Things are looking good for those guys. Sarrazin, D'Ambrosio, and Duval. And here's more PK action at turn 1.
Yeah, just locked to front. Just that maybe too far forward in the brake balance. There's just a lack of grip. Let's be honest here. It's unbelievably slippery. And did well to keep it out of that outside wall and also out of the escape road.
Yeah, did well to even get a lap out of it. And lockup from Jean-Eric Verne. And well, the fact you can see a lockup with smoke kicking off, it means that the track is getting a little drier. And Piquet says the track is getting drier already over the radio. So we could be in a bizarre situation where Group 3 is just the unlucky group, and Group 4 it'll be drier for this man Lucas Di Grassi. What a fascinating race we're going to be in for later on.
Still raining a bit, but you know, Lucas is 17 points back in this championship, and if he got the 3 points, it was allowed him to close in quite nicely. And
yeah. I think pole will be a bit of a stretch.
Well, you never know.
Group 4, but we'll see what happens. Right, let's have a look at how it stands then. After Group 3 of qualifying, Stefan Sarrazin is currently on provisional pole position for Venturi, looking to take theirs and his first pole of the year. Then it's Dragon, second and third, D'Ambrosio and Duval. Sam Bird is in fourth for Virgin. Fifth is Bruno Senna. Sixth is Sebastian Buemi, Heidfeld, Duran, Fontana and Trulli completing the top 10. Then we've got 11th to 15th are the men who have just run. But we've still got plenty of drivers still to come, including Lucas Di Grassi here at Battersea Park. Group 4, Karun Chandok, Nico Prost, Lucas Di Grassi, Simona de Silvestro and Oliver Turvey, and this session will start in 2 minutes time. And you can see that the rain has kind of cleared away. And we're going to be very interested to see what happens here. They're all on the edge of their seats. Hope you are too. I am. And Dario's not, because he's always pretty chilled. But Lucas Di Grassi is about to head out onto the circuit after throwing a little bit of a strop about the weather conditions earlier on. Now he's just got to focus on getting the job done. But when you're 13 points back from the championship leader and it starts to rain, you know it's going to be a tough one. Let's hear from Stefan Sarrazin, currently on provisional pole position. He, D'Ambrosio and Loic Duval, do they think the job is done now? Will that be pole for Stefan Sarrazin? He's with Nicky.
Well, Stefan Sarrazin, this weather is proving to be a real game changer. Do you think you've done enough?
Yeah. If I didn't do enough, that's the problem. Because now it's really, really slow. So they did 132, so they are far from the lap time. So yeah, today we are quite lucky compared all the season, I would say.
Yeah, you are looking very happy. It's nice to see a smile on your face, because you haven't had the best luck this season, have you?
Yeah, no, a lot of problems. But few races were very good, very fast, and sometimes every race an issue. So yesterday again, but we want to show today we can do something very good. So
great. Thanks very much.
There is the damp pit lane, but the rain appears to have stopped, judging by the chap in the jacket walking down. He seems to be fairly confident not to be in the rain. They've still got some brollies up, though, at certain parts of the track, and it seemed to be heavier at different parts of the track than others. Pretty much like Spa, this.
In miniature format.
Yeah, exactly. So we've still got 5 more cars to come. Karun Chandok, Nico Prost, Lucas Di Grassi, Simona de Silvestro and Oliver Turvey, as the final qualifying group is about to get underway. The final 5 cars of this first year of Formula E are about to go out to qualify.
This is damage limitation right now for Lucas Di Grassi. Absolutely. This weather could be Nelson Piquet's best friend.
Yeah.
Just to preserve that championship lead right now.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see them heading out here. So, who have we got in this group then? It's Nico Prost, who's leading the way there in the blue and yellow e.dams car. Then we've got Lucas Di Grassi behind, third place man in the championship fight. Then it's Oliver Turvey behind these two in the silver and fluorescent Next EV by Team China car. The Englishman looking for a strong result as Di Grassi puts the move on Nico Prost. And then also we've got out in the orange Andretti car, Simona de Silvestro. And then we've also got out there Karun Chandok in the Mahindra car. So they're the drivers to watch out for. You can see there's not much spray being kicked off there, and it certainly looks drier in that sequence of corners compared to kind of the pit lane area.
There's that sort of greasy film on the track though, Jack, which is tough to get rid of where there's not really any sunshine, and even if there is, you're underneath the trees too, so yeah, it could be a challenge. I know Karun's wanting a better session. He had a tough one this morning with having an incident in turn 9 there and damaging the left front corner of the car.
Put it in the wall in qualifying yesterday as well, so as they come down over the line.
Almost dry on the inside there, isn't it?
And I think that must be why Piquet was sticking to that side, just to try and brake on the drier part under the canopy of the trees.
Yep, absolutely. Now the reaction will be interesting when you see them come out of turn 17 there, and they do hit that one piece of track with different surface that is clearly very, very slippery. The rest of it looks like it's got quite a uniform level of grip, apart from, well, maybe that bit.
So what we'll see what they decide to do here in terms of when they turn it up to 200 as well, because normally they'd have another warm-up lap, but you're not going to be able to get that much kind of brake temperature and tyre temperature in these conditions, are you?
Well, you've got your... yes, you can actually, believe it or not. You can generate both those, but it's also about cooling down the motor and the batteries, and that's one of the reasons for the way they do this with the 2 warm-up laps, to get air through those radiators. To do that, I didn't realise that until I actually drove the car. That was the sort of thing, and a lot of the teams kept that somewhat secret in their why they were doing it, but it was by after the first race it was clear to all in the pit lane.
So on board with Lucas Di Grassi, he's still at a 150, just kind of cruising around and finding where the grip is on the circuit, especially on it, because on a conventional racetrack you can take the karting line, which is sort of going wider into the corners, but it must be so, on a street track, so corner dependent rather than a sort of general rule.
No, absolutely, it's corner dependent. It's very difficult to take that line in a chicane anyway. Yeah. But you've got as we've talked about, the surface changes, the bumps, the undulations of the track here as well, and the trees then covering different parts of it. So it's all got to be taken into account. You've got to do all that in 2 laps. You got really 2 goes at it. Yeah, you can do a lap like this, a sighting lap, but when it counts, you've got 2 laps to find the limit.
So we basically now have a battle for 11th place is fundamentally what it comes down to. Sebastian Buemi on his phone, not really paying too much attention, but it's pretty much a battle over 11th, because the top 10 qualified in the dry conditions, then we had 11th through 15th in the wet conditions, and now in these drying conditions we have Lucas Di Grassi, who's doing another sighter on 150 kilowatts of power, which is an interesting tactic. Nico Prost behind, though, in the blue and yellow e.dams car. He's pushing. Oliver Turvey was very close to the wall. He's turned up to 200, as is Simona de Silvestro. No, not at the moment. So Prost and Turvey are the men to keep an eye on, coming down towards the left-hander.
Prost very conservative there through 1 and 2. And 3, to be honest. He's really sort of feeling this out here.
Into the chicanes. 4 and 5, and then up to 6 and 7. And in that first sector he's on a 25.8, which is 0.3 of a second slower than Di Grassi.
Oliver Turvey's first sector was pretty good in relation to the rest of the group here.
So Prost has gone slower in sector 1 than Di Grassi, and Di Grassi's only on 150 kilowatts of power, so Nico really kind of tiptoeing around out there. The problem for Oliver Turvey, who's about to come into shot now, is that if he catches up to Prost, Prost is still going to be on his hot run, so has no need to pull over and out of the way, but I don't think that's quite going to be the case.
Oliver Turvey's second sector, very good again. Second quicker than Nico Prost.
So this is Lucas Di Grassi, who's still just cruising around there at the moment, warming up for his hot lap. So Oliver Turvey's the man who's going to maybe usurp the likes of Verne and Piquet for 11th place. So Di Grassi just still cruising. He'll turn it up now and then go for his hot lap. But keep an eye on the running clock of Nico Prost. It's not going to be very good. It's 14th, but there comes Turvey out of the final corner, goes 11th. Great lap from Oliver Turvey, quicker than Jean-Eric Verne and Nelson Piquet Jr. What an impressive debut this is turning into for Oliver Turvey, the Englishman. Qualified 7th yesterday in his first time in the car, and now he's outpaced some of very experienced formulary racers. Now we're on board with Lucas di Grassi. So this will give us something to work on. A 24.3 in Sector 1 is 0.3 quicker than Oliver Turvey. If the track's getting quicker and drier all the time, and you get more experience all the time, that third sighter for di Grassi might be a very smart move.
Yeah, absolutely, and as the track dries up, as you say, because each time a car runs over the surface, it's drying the thing up as well. So if he's the last person to start and take a lap and then take the checkered flag, it's going to be definitely a bonus for him. Look how wet it is there on the right-hand side, though, coming out of turn 10, coming up to 11.
Lucas di Grassi's middle sector is a 34.3, which is pretty good. Oh, so close on the exit of the chicane, and now through the long left-hander at 13, Rosary Gate. Onto the brakes, down the gears, into second gear. Oh, goodness me, just about.
He's lost the exit, though. He really lost it. Really lost a lot of time through the middle and off there.
Yeah.
He kept it out of the wall, but he really compromised.
him.
Oh, yeah, big time. And again, locked up there on the way in.
So across the line comes di Grassi, but he still goes quicker than Turvey by 0.3 of a second.
Well, now you're P11, so...
Still ahead of Nelson.
P11, there is 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, so try to do a cool down lap in...
Nelson has a 5-point lead.
So that was di Grassi being told to slow down for 1 lap and then get back on it. Nico Prost comes across the line. Simona de Silvestro goes quicker than Nico Prost, which is a good lap from her. In the orange Andretti car, you can see through there, although Prost now turns it up and goes for it. So does Oliver Turvey. So Turvey's going to be the man to watch this time through. Silvestro's slowing down now. So Oliver Turvey is going to be the man in the...
Oh, he hit the inside wall.
Did he?
I think he caught the inside wall there.
Okay, that's not good news for Nico Prost. He's 3.1 seconds down in Sector 1. 2 minutes to go in this session. But yeah, Piquet at the moment is provisionally 14th on the grid with a 5-point lead at the top of the championship. Buemi's looking in a really prime position at the moment, but we've still got a long way to go. So what's Turvey done in Sector 1? A 24.5, a personal best for Oliver Turvey. Nico Prost, meanwhile, is a second down in the first sector alone, so this is going to be nothing for Nico Prost. As he comes through the middle sector now. And 6.5 seconds down now then for Nico Prost. Turvey, meanwhile, about to come through the middle sector. Lucas di Grassi is still out there having one more cool-down run. 34.8 in the middle sector for Turvey, so that's not particularly strong.
He's struggling through there, isn't he?
But Nico Prost then weaving through the final sequence of corners. Currently in 17th. Karun Chandok is down in 19th position now. Di Grassi's just come across the line on his full 200 lap. Prost comes through and goes 14th quickest, so he goes in front of Piquet. Piquet drops down to 15th. Now here's Oliver Turvey. Coming down towards the final corner. Can he get back up into 11th place? Yes, he can. Quicker than Di Grassi. But Di Grassi's got one more full power lap to come, which he's on now.
This is a lap we need to see. We need to see Di Grassi's lap, see what he can do. Here he goes.
Turvey just being asked if he got traffic on that lap, but
through 4 and 5.
This is Lucas di Grassi we're with now.
Raking for 8 now. Over that hump there, where Piquet lost it a bit earlier.
His first sector is pretty much the same as Turvey's.
Here he goes through over that massive bump. Listen to that thing, just taken off.
Yeah.
He's braking for 9 and 10 now. Unusual line there again, trying to find any dry spot on the track he can.
Running right up to the wall.
Onto the long straight, out of 10 up to 11. Now this is when you'll see some of the passing in the race. This is when they can set the other cars up. Again, odd line. Locked outside. Has he made it? Yeah.
Just about, and he's a second up on Turvey in the middle sector. Really strong middle sector for Lucas di Grassi.
Through turn 13 here, tricky corner and very slippery on this other surface. Through the bus stop he's going to get onto in a second. Right there. More cautious than the run before. Made a much better exit that time. That's better, yeah.
So is this going to be good enough for 11th place for Lucas di Grassi? That's the big question as he comes down towards the final turn. Gets on the brakes, into the left-hander, across the line, and it is 11th for di Grassi. He's just managed to outpace Turvey.
32.5. It was a good lap from him there. Good very good lap from Di Grassi.
Yeah, really impressive stuff.
Copy, that was the best I could do.
And,
At least for a pole from the wet.
Exactly, he has pole in the wet conditions. Big slide from Simone Di Silvestro. Someone's been off at turn 7 meanwhile, which I think will be Karun Chandok, because he's had a 12 seconds slower middle sector. So Karun went off in the middle part of the track. Silvestro has now done her best first and second sectors, and they're not too bad.
Did she get held up, do you think, by Karun?
Maybe. She could be in the chance to get in front of Prost and Piquet. Through the final corner comes Simone Di Silvestro, goes in front of Verne, Prost and Piquet, out-qualifies her teammate, and means that Nelson Piquet Jr. will start the race, the final Formula E race of the season, from 16th on the grid. The man leading the championship, the man that's 5 points behind him, Sebastian Buemi, will start 6th.
Oh, and the points, each point you can gain up where Buemi is worth a whole lot more than the bottom half of that time screen there.
But that's the man who's going to be starting on pole position, Stefan Sarrazin for the Venturi team. So delighted to see some success for Venturi, because they've had a horrible year as they emerge. Great news for Sarrazin, not great news for Nelson Piquet Jr.
Well, Nelson Piquet, this is clearly not the grid positions that we would have expected today. How is that going to change things for you this afternoon?
I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, we have to do the job from where we're going to start, and we'll do the possible. I mean, I cannot control the weather, so we'll see what's going to happen.
I mean, despite the rain, you did actually have a killer lap. There was serious commitment at that corner.
I mean, we were going to try everything we could, regardless what we had in our hands. You know, we have to try to do the maximum we could with what we had, and we never knew if it was going to keep raining or if it wasn't. So I tried everything I could, and yeah, we were very unlucky with weather.
You're a very versatile driver as well, so perhaps this is going to suit you. You know, we've never seen a wet race.
Well, I hope it even snows later on. That would be better for us.
All right. Thank you.
At least he's still got a sense of humour.
Exactly.
Good man.
Yeah.
But he's right, though. I mean, he can't control the weather, and he definitely got the worst of it there in his group 3. But he's going to have to make the most of it this afternoon.
So here's a look at the results. Stefan Sarrazin will start on pole position, just in front of Jerome D'Ambrosio in second place, Loic Duval there in third. Bird, Senna and Buemi completing the top 6. Great news for Sebastian Buemi, because there's his nearest title rival, Lucas Di Grassi. He's in 11th place, third in the standings, just in front of Oliver Turvey. Great qualifying performance from him. And there is Nelson Piquet Jr., 16th on the grid for the man at the top of the championship. What a spectacle that is going to serve us up. Chandok and Yamamoto completing the top 20, but it's Sarrazin that will start on pole position. So let's have a look back at the highlights of that absolutely bonkers qualifying session. It's going to be one that will really set up the race later on. British weather delivers. So the fans were happy, the weather was not. Ahead of the qualifying session, it started off in the dry conditions, a little bit of drizzle, but in general it was all right. Nelson Piquet was looking pretty chilled ahead of the qualifying session, but he wouldn't be quite as chilled come his time to get in the car. Jerome D'Ambrosio went out in the first session, a little tear-off visor. And Bruno Senna heading out there as well before too long, as the rain continued to just spit down. So this was on board in the early stages. You could see a little bit of drizzle coming down. Jerome D'Ambrosio was looking quick in the early stages as he came across the line. And he will start second on the grid for the second race in a row. But it was Stefan Sarrazin who took pole position. Jarno Trulli locked up and went straight on. Sebastian Buemi was pushing hard, and he ended up not quite hooking it together as much as he would have wanted, but he's still going to be starting in 6th place on the grid. A lot better than his championship rivals. This is on board with Buemi, locking up coming into the final turn. Across the line he came, and he could only manage that 6th place. Nico Prost was looking concerned because he could see the weather was taking a turn. Buemi then clipped the wall coming into the first corner. That was a big moment for him. Managed to keep it together as the e.dams-Renault team watched on. That was where he hit it. Then out went Nelson Piquet. in the third qualifying group. He was struggling, and this is really what did it. Sakon Yamamoto going in the wall meant that caused a delay, and the rain started to come down harder and harder. Lucas de Grassi saw the rain coming and was not impressed. Big slide from Nelson Piquet Jr. as he came out of turn 8. An even bigger slide here at the chicane. Mesmerising stuff from Piquet. Daniel Abt went straight on. As a result, he'll be starting down in 18th position. Jean-Eric Vergne pushed hard, but he will only be 14th on the grid. And then coming into the fourth qualifying segment, the weather started to pick up a bit. Happily for Lucas de Grassi, he would then go on to qualify in 11th position as he made his way into the car, just drying the shoes as he got into his Abt machine. Lost a bit of momentum coming through the final chicane, but